If you are a workaholic and you need to find more balance in your life, you're going to want to watch this video right now. Let's go.
I don't want to start with where you are today. I want to start with where you were when you first found ULA. Like, how did that happen? You got a book? What happened? Where were you in your life? And what happened when you first found ULA? And I'm going to sit back and enjoy tea, and we're going to pull some good nuggets out of this one today, guys.
Oh, that's
Buckle up.
awesome. So as you know, my wife, she's got a pretty big Instagram following, Pink Cupcake Girl on Instagram. And she does a challenge every June. It's called the Streaking with the Cool Kids Challenge, where she challenges her followers to get up and move every day, run, walk, or jog 1 mile a day, every day. And she started that in 2014. And I think it was the second year she was doing it. She had met you and Troy at a Young Living conference. And based on that interaction, she had a good feeling about the whole thing. She reached out to you guys and said, hey, I got this challenge I'm doing, and I want to give away some merch, some gear. And you guys, being so ULA, were like, okay, we'll send you some hats, we'll send you some books and stuff like that. And I think she tried to give me a book literally like 5 or 6 times over 6 months. But just like most guys, sometimes it takes us a little longer to catch on to the hint, to the drift that she's throwing down, right? And that book, man, it caught me at a time where I was living what I think most people aspire to in today's culture, what they see on social media, what they see on TV, etc. I mean, I was crushing it in business. I was really, really active in business, had a radio program, former financial advisor. The radio program was generating a lot of interest, and I was having 5, 6 meetings a day, making a lot of money, but literally no other dimension to my life. Like, it really was like family time. I was dead tired by the time that rolled around. My health, non-existent at that time. I was probably 50 pounds heavier than I am right now. And then in my faith, it was there, but I wasn't actively practicing because I just didn't have enough bandwidth left over. So, she tried to get me to read that book. And finally, I started to read it and pick it up. And man, the life assessment, sitting there, just being honest with myself as to where I was at. I think a lot of people drift in life. I think it's easy to drift. And what I mean by that is you get into business, you start having kids, you get married, you have a house, you got a mortgage payment, you got some car payment, whatever it is. And all of a sudden you fast forward 5, 6 years, and sometimes you don't even realize how far off track you've gotten from where you originally set out to be in the direction you wanted to go. And so the ULA wheel for me was like the first thing that I really had to be honest with myself about how far I had fallen in losing me. Yeah, I was crushing it in business. I had a lot of money coming in. It was great, but yet I had lost me in that process. And so coming to terms with that, I realized right then and there that I needed to read the rest of that book and go through that, because something in my spirit was telling me, boy, you lost your way. You need to find it again. And so really that's where it began for me.
There's 2 things I want to unpack in there. We're looking for little nuggets that people that can grab onto stuff. I'm gonna learn stuff. I learn stuff in every Transformational Tuesday that I try to implement into my life to live a more balanced and purpose-filled life. But there's a couple things that are key. One is really getting real with where you are. Super important. And the other thing that's really unique that you said is the drift. And I call that the drift in my life. We call it actually the drift, because you normally end up in a spot in your marriage, in your relationships, in your health, when you get to a tipping point, when you go, how the heck did I end up here? And it was something that started 5, 10 years earlier. Yeah. So there's 2 things I love about the ULA wheel. One is it makes you get real with where you are. Now in this new product that we're developing, it actually uncovers blind spots that you might be missing that might be heading you down the wrong path. Like, hey, like when you're in your iPhone nowadays or a smartphone, it'll say, hey, that you could go that way, but there's traffic and there's road construction and that bridge is out. So we don't want you to go that way. That's really what this does too. And that's what I love that part about the ULA lifestyle framework is it can warn you of where your life is going before it ends up at the bottom. And I know you have a story of redemption. I have a story of being at the bottom, really starting over, which I know we'll get into today. But that's the key thing there. So there's going to be 2 little things here I want to pull out right away. You have to understand where you are before you can decide where you want to go. And you have to get real with where you are. And then if you can take a break from life and do an assessment of where you are right now, but also the decisions you're currently making in your relationships, in your faith, in your finances, in your health, in all those decisions, that's going to lead you to where you're going to be in 2023. 2024. So the stuff we're doing right now today is where it's developing the path or where you're going to be in 2 to 3 years. So if you're like, man, think back to 2020, that went super fast. So 2021 is going to fly right by. And the decisions you're making right now, you're going to be sitting here this time next year, 2022, and you're going to be sitting in a situation based on the decisions you made today. So the decisions you're making today will lead you to next April 2022. So we want to be making those. That's living with intention. That's living by looking at your life through the lens of ULA every single day with intention, so you can move in the right direction. So you don't get 3 years down the road and go, oh crap, the bridge is out, I didn't know that. Or worst case scenario, like what happened to Shaun and I, you go off the bridge and you're like, dang, that was a long bridge. Now I got to climb back up. So this is the important part about living with intention and being very real with where you are and where you want to go. So you got the book from Jen, you read it, you did the wheel, and you're like, okay, this blows. I make a lot of money, but my life is jacked up. What were the next steps you took to start getting yourself back on track?
Well, really, it was the recognition of how far off track I had gotten, and I think that one important point here, I think that we should camp on a bit, is that, I was that person that a lot of people aspire to be. Outside looking in, we had the big house, we had the cars, we had that stuff. I was making money in business. But what nobody ever taught me about success is that it can be very, very seductive. And what I mean by that is that the more of it you get, the more of it you want. And especially if you can trade time for more money or more opportunity in business. And so nobody had shared with me that it can actually be one of the worst things to happen to you in terms of like balancing your life and family and stuff like that. So success can be actually very caustic. It can be seductive, and then it can lead to challenges. So for me, recognizing how far off base I had gotten, how far I drifted in my life, because I used to goal set, I used to dream, I used to do all of that stuff, and all of that had kind of fallen by the wayside. So for me, it was really kind of taking accountability of where are the biggest areas right now that I want to focus on. I knew faith was my big thing. I was a Christian atheist at the time. What I mean by that is I believed in God, but you couldn't evidence God in my life in a lot of different ways if you looked in on it. And I felt like faith was really some area of my life where I wanted to improve. And then also, obviously fitness. I want to be around for my grandkids. I don't have grandkids yet, but we've got 4 boys. And so for me to really work on my fitness, I had really kind of ballooned up, and I was not happy with where I was at. So really the big 2 things for me at the moment was, where are the most pressing areas that I want to focus my effort on to start that life change process, and let's get after it. And so that's really what I started to do.
What were your first steps? What did you do
really
in the category of faith and fitness?
So in terms of faith, goal setting, I said, I need to get back connected, plugged in. So one of the first things that I started to do was reached out to a good, faithful friend of mine, went to church with him several times. I asked him if he had a men's group that I could participate in. I just felt like I needed that weekly connection with some friends that I could fellowship with and really start to work on my faith in that regard. So I set some
how much of a difference did that make in your life to where you are today versus where you were then?
Well, I think the accountability part of it, knowing that there was a group of guys that were going to meet every Tuesday and that I was expected or anticipated to be part of that meeting. I mean, if it was just me doing a devotional or, something on my own, I think that piece of it probably wouldn't have taken hold as quickly as it did without the, kind of the men's fellowship group that I was going to every Tuesday. So I think that was critical, that accountability piece. Accountability is so critically important to moving yourself down, because if you're not the type of person that would prioritize that or be as accountable to yourself in those types of efforts, being accountable to someone else, makes you a bit more uncomfortable. It makes it a little bit more sticky. You're more likely there was moments and nights where I didn't really want to go, but to have to look those guys in the face or to send them a text as to why I wasn't going, I felt like I couldn't justify it. So that was a big deal.
So where is your faith today compared to what it was back then?
Oh my God.
And then that's what I want to know. How big of a difference has that made in your life?
It's made all the difference. God is honestly my source for everything in life. My relationship with him has blossomed and grown in ways that I never could have imagined. I would say I was one of those people that would attend church, but and listen to the message and try to apply it to my life. But I didn't really feel as though I was personally connected, like feeling his presence, hearing his spirit in mine. And I think working on this over the last 5-6 years, I've really tried to develop that, listening for his words, that little check that you get, those little words that'll prompt in your spirit out of nowhere. And you go like, where did that come from? I never had any of that before I started to work on this. I had faith, I believed in God, but like that personal, that loving, that intimate relationship with God is something that I can't thank him enough for that now.
You know what I love about Transformational Tuesday is I have no idea where these are going to go. We don't prep these. We don't talk about. You get on 5 minutes before. I say we're going live in 2 minutes, and then we put in a title and go. And I'll tell you what I love about this is Troy and I have always said, even when we wrote the book ULA for Christians, that you be you in your faith. We're not telling you what to believe at all. Like, we have friends of all faiths. And we just say, be bold in that, because when you have that higher purpose for your life just clicks better. It works better. Your heart is better. Your thoughts and your actions are more pure and more clear in your value system when you have that higher purpose in your life. But what I love so much is, Troy and I always say, it's not our job to teach people their faith, but it is our job to show that faith is important to them, and to get them to put their hand on a door of a church or a synagogue or a mosque or whatever it is to work on their faith, and just be open to working hard on your faith. And so that's so important. But it's cool to hear you as a dude who is like, this could have gone completely down the path of business, right? Like, that would be logical that we'd be talking about business. Because we're both passionate about. I love business strategy. I love helping people build their businesses. You love that as well. I love marketing. I love branding. I love being creative. You have that with Jen as well, with the business you guys do right now with renovating houses.
Yes.
And really, what's interesting is this has gone down a little bit of the faith path, which I love, because it's such a unique path to go down. So let's go to the fitness thing. 50 pounds heavier. Which would have been, I'd have definitely done the doughboy thing to you. Now I'd have been.
Yeah,
I'd have done it. It'd have been
absolutely
a little bit bigger. I'd have made fun of you a little bit, man, because I love you. But no, so I mean, what do you feel like now? Like, what were some of the steps you took to get back in shape?
Well, number one, I just listen to my wife, because she's like a beast when it comes to the gym. But no, I was a guy 5 years ago that didn't want any pictures of myself ever. I tried to hide behind my kids and family photos and stuff like that. I said, I don't want you to take pictures of me. I never looked in a mirror ever. And that's probably how I got as big as I was, because I didn't want to acknowledge it, because I didn't have any bandwidth to deal with it. I gave everything to business. I gave everything to what I was doing, because for so long we hadn't been successful. I mean, I went through a 2009 like you went through, and you go through the fire. I went bankrupt, lost our house, got foreclosed on. And, it's kind of like if there's a season of harvest, if there's a season of opportunity, after going through something like that, you want to seize upon it. But I had been 4 years of that. And I created a monster, and so I didn't have bandwidth left over for other dimensions in my life. I just didn't have the effort. I just couldn't take it on. And so for me, as soon as I got separated from the business substantially, that's where a big transformation happened. But the year that Jen gave me the ULA book, I said, why not participate in her streak? So the streak in June, streaking with the cool kids, for the very first year, I did it in 2016, and got to the end of the 30 days. And I looked at my wife, Jen, and I said, there's no reason for us to stop, and I think we're on like day 1900 and something now, like here we are 4.5 years later. So my fitness journey really began walking every day, just a mile a day, and I ended up over a period of probably 4 months, losing almost 20 pounds. And then that was reinforcement for me to continue to go. I started moderating what I ate and started thinking about myself a little differently, and then tried to start to add on other activities like hiking, etc. Reset those goals, project out in the future. And the more you see success there, the more you want to continue to change your life there. And so for me, it really culminated last year when the pandemic began. I started talking to my boys and I said, listen, I don't want 2020 for you to be the year of the pandemic. Decide now something else that you want to accomplish this year, something else you want to do. So, Jen and I started the Hope Radio podcast last year. I said, I want it to be about hope. I want to be about encouraging people. And then I decided on the fitness side that I was going to double down and do phase 2. I was going to really start to incorporate strength training and working out. And I asked Jen to come alongside with me with that. And then I started studying for real estate, got my real estate license. I just wanted 2020 to not be the year of the pandemic. I wanted to define it differently for us and my family. And I wanted to lead by example. I wanted to show my boys what, like going through something like that, because they'll never forget the year of the pandemic or the years of the pandemic. And I really wanted to lead by example and show them that, when push comes to shove, you have control over how you want to live your life and what you want to excel at and some of those dreams or goals that you have.
Yeah, dude, I don't even know where to take this. There's like 800 nuggets in there, which are amazing in your story. But I think the biggest thing is what you've really done is you've talked about the 3 simple steps to your life, getting real with where you are, understanding that that's just where you are, and understanding that where you are is because of the decisions you made years before, getting into step 2 and saying all 7 areas are important. I'm going to say that to everybody watching right now. All 7 areas are important. Don't blow off fun. Don't blow off faith. Don't blow off family or friends. It's all important to live a balanced, full life and live a purpose-filled life. And then the next thing is you take action steps every day, which is step 3. How are you going to get there? And you literally started walking. And now I know you're doing squats. I've seen videos.
Squat, strength training. I mean, like,
yeah,
whatever I can get in.
Yeah. So, but this is what I want for everyone watching. No matter where you are, it's just where you are. It's not who you are. You are designed by God for greatness and a purpose. You have this amazingness inside of you. And it starts by saying, hey, this is just where I am. It's not who I am. I'm designed for something more inside of me. I'm designed by God for greatness and a purpose. Step 2, where do I want my life to go? Not what my mom and dad, my teacher, preacher, not what my friends and family tell me. Really, truly get in your heart and say, where do I want my life to go? What do I want for my life when it comes to my relationships, my career, when it comes to my health, when it comes to my faith walk, when it comes to my hobbies, when it comes to my memories, when it comes to my legacy? What do I want? And then taking action steps every day and then being patient on this. You said something so cool. You said they lost 20 pounds in 4 months. Most people, if they don't lose 20 pounds in 20 days, they're mad because they're doing a crash diet. So it's time. And now 4 years later from starting this journey, okay, I'm going to ask a couple questions. Real quick answer. What does your body feel like now? Just give me some examples.
I just feel stronger than I've ever felt before. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I turned 50 in January. So that was purposeful. I mean, I wanted to, and again, another example for my boys, if they ever go down that same path I went down, I want them to know at any point in their life, they can decide to make a change. They'll remember that their dad changed his body completely at the age of 48, 49, 50, et cetera. So that was important to me too.
And then with working on your faith and your fitness, how has it affected the other areas of your life from a standpoint of your marriage, your relationship with your kids, opportunities, all of that?
I used to walk around at an irritation level, 0 to 10 of probably 7 or 8. So the smallest thing would set me off. Like I was just always a super intense person. And I think really focusing on balancing my life in the key areas, recognizing like I'd always sacrifice fun for anything else. The fun is the hardest for me. It's the least natural for me. Like I don't prioritize that. Jen always has to drag me to vacations and drag me to fun. And I'm glad that she's done that. But when you look at my life now, like I walk around at a 2 or a 3, I don't get upset as easily. My kids see it in me. They see a transformation. They've commented on that in me. So like it's changed our whole family. And quite honestly, man, I can't thank you enough for like pushing through and really creating this, co-founding this company, because it absolutely is changing lives. And I'm a testament. I'm a product of that.
I mean, you're the reason, people like you are the reason we're going to the next level with going after impacting 1 billion lives in 7 years. So there's 2 things on this. One is, where do you see yourself in the next 2-3 years with ULA? Just like you personally, not 1B7, but just you personally, like what are some of your goals? If you don't mind sharing just some of the things you want to do.
Well, I think I mentioned I just turned 50. And so for the first time ever in my life, I really feel like I've connected to why God put me on the planet. I've wondered that. I've wondered, why am I here? Why now? Why this age? Why 2021? Why in the United States? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? And I feel now connected more to the mission than I've ever been connected before. And quite honestly, I am just listening to God. I'm following his lead and I'm trying to be obedient. I'm trying to moderate my expectations to some degree and just go, you know what, Lord, I hear you. This is going to be big. It's going to be a big opportunity and I want to play a role in it. And so right now, that's just my primary. I'm just thinking of use me, let's advance the cause of ULA. And I just want to be a resource to other people that feel like I can share some talents and skill sets to help them do the same.
I love it, man. And I'm going to talk a little 1B7 because I know you're going to play a big part in that. You're going to lead monster teams, building an army of people that are going to go impact the world. We're not talking about this till July 7th openly on any channel. But I know that as a coach, you're a certified ULA coach, what 1B7 is, all about it. You have a major head start in it. And what do you feel like? Describe what ULA is to you, like as you want to tell it to other people. How would you explain ULA to someone else?
I would just share with them, like the example of my life is growing up. I mean, I had a broken household. I'm an only child. I didn't have good examples of what, a balanced, normal, encouraging, growth-oriented, positive life looked like. I mean, I had a mom and a dad that loved me, but I just really didn't have good examples of what life lived well and balanced look like. And I think that's the challenge for all of us. I mean, for me, the biggest thing about this is I feel like right now in today's society, there is so much caustic information out. I mean, there's like cancel culture, there's negative social media, there's, it just seems like if you say you're X, somebody that's Y automatically feels like you don't have any value there. And I just think that hurt people. And so I really feel like ULA, in terms of how it transformed, I was a hurt person. I went through some trials and tribulations. I wasn't happy with my life. And look at what's happened since focusing on that balance, since focusing on ULA. So to me, if a billion other people could really jump on this like I did, really work through it, do the assessments, do the goal setting, make the plan, like how different could the world be? And what an incredible opportunity to play a role in possibly changing the world for the better. And so to me, that's the thing. That's the mission. That's what keeps me up at night. That's why I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm just so dang excited to share this as much as possible and see other people go through the transformation that I went through or something similar to that, because quite honestly, you'll never be the same. And once you've never been the same, you just want to share it to everybody that you could ever imagine sharing it to, because you want them to be happy. You want them to live a better life. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, dude, you said a key word, and I'm going to change that word from this point forward in your life. Okay. You said the word opportunity, which is an amazing opportunity to be able to share ULA with the world, and obviously, make a living doing that as well. But it's time for you to step into the role of it's an obligation. And that's how we look at it. You're part of the team. You're part of the inner circle with us as a coach. But it's an obligation at this point, because you know what it's done in your life to really feel like you want to share it with others. Is an opportunity for other people who sign up and work with you 100%. But for you as a leader, it's an obligation. And that's how I feel about it. It's like, I'm on this planet to share ULA with the world and help a billion people see their life different. And I do believe with all my heart that it can change the world by letting people become non-judgmental, start loving themselves and others, let the hurt be healed so they don't keep hurting others. That's how I see our role in ULA. So, bro, such a pleasure hanging out with you. I love you like a brother, and I haven't even met you. So on that note, I can't wait to give you a big old squeeze one of these days.
Thanks for hanging out with us on YouTube. And if you're looking for more balance, growth, and purpose in your life, check out this video right here.
Also, be part of this amazing community by subscribing below.